This is Clara Benitez Cortez, and with me we have Congressman Vicente Gonzalez representing District 34. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So first of all, you're from Corpus Christi.
I am. Born and raised.
So tell me a little bit about that. Where did you guys live? What area? What high school did you go to? You went to school? I mean, tell our viewers.
I did. So I grew up kind of in the center of town around Galahar and Carroll Lane. Went to elementary school at St. Cyril. That's where I did my first communion, actually. And went to junior high at South Park Elementary, junior high school. Went to Carroll High School for high school. Graduated from Del Mar College. Went to college on the Naval Air Station here in Corpus Christi, so I had a very close relationship with the serving men and women at the NAS Corpus Christi. That's where I graduated with my bachelor's. And then on to law school, and moved up to Dallas for law school, and then, kind of took me on a different path. 20 years later, I was elected to the United States Congress, originally representing the 15th District, which is north of San Antonio, all the way down to McAllen, Texas. And in 2020, the last redistricting that we thought would be the last for the decade, I was redistricted into a 75% new district, which was tough, right, after representing a district for 6 years. But we went and campaigned really hard, knocked on 236,000 doors, and was reelected for my 4th term. And again, last cycle for my 5th term. So next year will be 10 years serving in Congress.
So that was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, the redistricting the last time. So they ended up adding, I believe, from district, did they redistrict 15 or 34? What was the switch?
Well, both. The entire region got redistricted, even Cuellar's district, my district, and what was Congressman Filemon Vela's district at the time. I lost a big portion of my district. It got ripped in 3, really. Duval County, Jim Hogg County, went to District 28. I lost most of my northern area. I mean, my western part of this district, and they drew my home, literally. They drew my home and about 200,000 people that I represented at the time into 34, which is all the way to the coast. South Padre Island. I represent SpaceX, Elon Musk. I think most people know who he is. And it goes all the way up the coast to Clayburgh County. So I have, I represent Kingsville and the university, the King Ranch, and I think a lot of people from Corpus Christi are connected to that region.
Very familiar with that region.
Yeah. So I've been there for the last, going on 4 years next year, so the last 2 terms. And now it looks like we're dealing with a potentially new map getting through the legislature. Exactly.
So we're going to talk about that. What are your thoughts about them wanting to redistrict? They would essentially split, I believe, your district again. So you've gone through this in the past, but this is going to have to, what they want to do. It hasn't passed yet, but that's what they want to do. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, let me tell you, it's generally unfair for the American people because people have already chosen their representative. And what we're finding is we're trying to now choose the voters. And voters are upset about that, obviously, across the state in different areas. I think if the maps that have been proposed pass the legislature, which I'm pretty confident that they will, I will fare okay because I always wanted to represent my hometown, and here's finally an opportunity where it draws, Corpus Christi and most of Nueces County into the district that I represent today. So really, I get one more county, which is in Nueces, and I lose Hidalgo, which I've represented for now going on 10 years.
Wow. And right now, too, you are looking at what they're saying it's going to be a competitive race because of what District 15, I believe you had a competitive race with Monica de la Cruz.
No, Myra Flores.
Myra Flores.
Yeah. I beat Monica de la Cruz in 2020.
In 2020, right.
And then I beat Myra Flores. She was there for 4 or 5 months on a special election. We took her out in 22 and then challenged her again in 24. Yeah. And there may be a repeat of that again, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it sounds like some of those candidates are coming back into this congressional district. So.
And when we talk about essentially they talk about the GOP taking over South Texas and the Valley and different areas, the border towns. Obviously, you've seen, right, those switches of people voting the other way. What are you going to tell your constituents to vote for you? What are some of the main issues that you think are going to maybe not say, don't vote for the GOP, but instead still vote with me, still vote with the Democrats?
Yeah, so let me tell you, I have represented a district that has gone pretty red, right? We lost our state senator, we lost our state legislature, we lost our entire Court of Appeals last cycle, but I was a survivor. And I think I was a survivor due to a lot of the moderate positions that I've had in Congress. I'm one of the most conservative Democrats in the United States. I chair the Oil and Gas Caucus. I care about trade and agriculture and a lot of things South Texans believe in. I'm not for taking anyone's guns away. And I think I fit the values of South Texas, and voters were able to recognize it. And luckily, before all the redistricting occurred, I had been in the district and I had been representing the region for such a while that people actually got to see my votes and got to see the things I said and did. If I had been running for the very first time, I think it would have been a very serious uphill battle. So fortunately, people were familiar with us and supported our campaign, and we're ready to do it again.
And you have I believe it was Eric Flores who just announced.
Yeah, well, there's 7 or 8 Republicans that are running. Eric doesn't live in the district, but he's one of the ones who is going to run. Myra Flores is running. Bam Morales is running. Kunkel, there's a whole bunch, right? In fact, I just heard there was a couple from Corpus Christi that will be running in the Republican primary. So it's going to be a crowded Republican primary, to say the least. Yeah. And on the Democratic side, we're not sure what happens. I hope, I think it's a fool's errand to run in a primary with a sitting member, but things happen, and we're ready to deal with whatever comes.
So tell me right now, Texas representatives had fled the state, and they were in Chicago. There was a lot of threats from Governor Greg Abbott. They finally have made it back. They didn't have a quorum, but you think that it is going to happen? You think that
I really do. I think there's only so much you can do by leaving the state unless you're committed to leaving for a year, right? And wait until the next cycle. And even then, in 2003, they kept calling new sessions, and they ended up pushing the primary to, I think, May of that year. And that's how we got Ted Cruz and others that were not like the candidate that people expected to win. You give candidates in the primary a lot more time, especially newer candidates, to campaign and be more competitive. So I think a lot of incumbents on both sides of the aisle really want to keep that March primary.
Do you think it's going to be a shock if they do end up adding 5 more seats? Well, what they want to do, but you keep your seat here. Do you think that that's going to shock them?
Yes, and it's going to happen. I can assure you. I've shocked them the last 2 times or 3 times, and I work hard. I have a record to show of what I believe and what I do. I've delivered over $7 billion to my congressional district since I've been in Congress. I bring earmarks home. I know there's members of Congress that don't accept earmarks. I take all the money I can bring to my district for infrastructure, for education, for health care. We want to make sure senior citizens have the Social Security that we promised them, the Medicare that we promised them. We want to make sure kids have an opportunity to get the best education in the world right here at home and be able to compete with the rest of the country on a level playing field. And I've fulfilled that obligation as a congressman and bringing the resources we need to uplift our communities. And if you go down to my district, it's been transformational. I chair the Oil and Gas Caucus for the Democratic Party, which sometimes isn't the most popular thing to do as a Democrat, but it fits Texas and it fits our region. I was able to secure 2 new LNG terminals for the Port of Brownsville since I've been there. And I think we need to keep supporting our economy.
So when you say you are the most conservative Democrat in that area, what does
I don't say it. The Wall Street Journal says it.
That's what they say? So some of the topics, right, that the Republicans really care about, border security, right? What are some of the things that you've done in your past years for border security?
Well, I could tell you I was the most critical Democrat in the country when the border was out of control. And I have a bill called the Safe Zone Act that I've proposed. in a bipartisan way. And what that bill does, and I believe that we should continue with this proposal, it creates safe zones in Guatemala, in Panama, possibly in El Salvador now, to where we build infrastructure out further away from our border in case we have future surges, because we will. We're the greatest country in the world, and people want to come here. And we should have infrastructure built far from our border. So when people want to come to the United States, they must, under my proposal, they must go to these countries and process their asylum claim or whatever kind of claim that they're trying to make when they get to the United States at that juncture. And if we're going to turn them down, it's easier to do it from there. And if we're going to allow them in, I believe in giving them a document where they can fly into the United States and get to their final destination. And that does two things. It takes the pressure off our southern border, and it eliminates the cartels out of the equation. I've been combating cartel violence across the border for the last 9 years. And cartels are out of control, and a lot more needs to be done. Those are some of the things President Trump and I agree on. And I think that proposal, just last year, I calculated cartels made $5 billion trafficking humans to my southern border. And the federal judge asked every single one in our district, how much did you pay to get here? And they all say $8,000. And we did the math, and it was about $5 billion that they had earned bringing people to our southern district. So I don't believe this should be a Democratic or a Republican problem. This is an American problem that requires real bipartisan solutions. And that's what I propose. I have very good friends on the other side of the aisle that I work on these issues with. I think that the disagreement in Washington is over 10% of the issues, and we need to find a way to build a bridge.
Absolutely. Well, anything else that you want to add in regards to the redistricting? Obviously, I think you have accepted it. You're ready for this upcoming election. Do you think that that should be the same sentiment with other Democratic congressmen who are also probably facing the same issue? Right.
Now, I think it's an illegal redistricting, right? But they have the power, and you got to accept when the other side has the power. I was a trial lawyer for 20 years of my life, and I knew when I had a weaker case and when I had a stronger case, and we got to just face realities and battle on with what we have on the table, and that is what we have on the table. That doesn't mean lawsuits aren't going to be filed in federal court and these maps are not going to be challenged, because I can assure you they will be. And the Supreme Court may not agree with some of these maps. I hope I get to keep some of Corpus Christi, because I love coming by the water and fishing and enjoying my old friends here and family that I still have in town. But we'll see what the courts say. But ultimately, I'm assuming and I'm planning that the maps that have been proposed have a very, very high likelihood of passing, and passing very soon. And we will be potentially campaigning in this new map. And that's my plan.
Alrighty. Well, anything else that you would like to add in regards to this redistricting, in regards to your upcoming run here in the Valley?
In Corpus, the entire region, right? We're not just in the Valley. Yeah. Well, I ask everyone to join me, come to my events, come to my rallies, and I want everyone to come, not just Democrats. I want Republicans and independents and people who have not been involved in politics before. Come to my events, listen to what I have to say, read what I've done. Do your research and certainly be active, because I think we're living extraordinary times that require everyone's attention, everyone's participation. And I hope that we're able to really rally the troops here in Corpus Christi. All
right, one last question. The Texans or the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Okay.
I'm a believer.
Alrighty, you heard it here. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to have this full interview on YouTube and our YouTube channel. We'll see you then.